Welcome to Power Hour, where the editors of Powersports Business interview the movers and shakers of the industry. This episode is brought to you by Synchrony.
You guys are in Boston then, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Right.
Driving distance from Valcourt.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, it's not that far, right? So, yeah, we're actually looking at doing a little vacation. We're going to drive up through Canada. We're going to go into like Ottawa and Montreal. Montreal will be the farthest we go, and then kind of go back. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. And but yeah, so with all that's going on with now, you guys call it. I always called it Club BRP. What do you guys BRP Club?
No, it's Club BRP.
Okay.
Club BRP 2026 exactly. So, I mean, as you can understand, we have Can-Am 3-wheel, we got off-road, and we got Sea-Doo watercraft, Sea-Doo switch. So it's not branded anymore like it used to be with a Ski-Doo club and so on. So it's Club BRP. It's all the products.
Club BRP all under one roof, and there's been some changes here. You've sold off the Manitou brand, and that so you're really kind of refocused on Powersports. How is that effort going? I know you've got the big news today I think it was yesterday. I think I got the email yesterday about the electric ATV, the Outlander. How is the reception of that then?
Well, I mean, first question about the refocus on Powersports. This has obviously been in the works for many months as we put the boat companies for sale, and it actually allows us to go deeper in every single subject. Not too much into the product development side, but in terms of the commercial efforts and how we care about our dealers and so on. And so that's been good. So the teams are pumped, and we're ready to rock and roll. And yes, on the electric ATV, well, as you know, I think the last time we talked about the core, the motor, the inverter, the battery, and so on, that was not only about snowmobile and not only about the motorcycle.
You were just getting ready with the Pulse and the Origin coming out,
exactly.
And you would develop that kind of architecture for the electric. So, yeah.
So it's using the exact same architecture that we use on the other products, but applied on an ATV. And
Gotcha.
And the reception was we didn't have super high expectations, obviously, with everything going on, and especially in contrast with the other product news we have, like on the Defender and so on, which is the biggest segment of the industry. But you know what? We spent a day and a half now with the dealers, and it's starting to spin in their heads. In the application of an electric ATV. They're getting calls from different cities, different levels of governments, and so there is something there for sure. For hunters, this silent approach idea, going hunting with an electric ATV, the dots are connecting. Let me put it this way.
Yeah, no, and I've ridden a few electric products. I rode one a couple years ago that was very high-end electric. Supposedly it wasn't done, never really got finished, and it fell on the vine. But when you see what the possibilities are for electric and off-road especially, and in this kind of environment where the range isn't so much of an issue because you can have enough range for getting in and getting out and doing, but for hunting and for doing a lot of sportsman type stuff that you want to do where you need to be kind of quiet and keep a kind of a small footprint type thing, I think it's really ideal. It's going to be pretty neat.
By the way, this is not a toy though. This is a real Outlander with everything an Outlander does, but electrified, right?
Yeah.
The coolest feature, Brendan, is the going from reverse to obviously to forward on a flip of a button. Up to 12 miles an hour, you can switch back and forth. You know, it's
That's
like
kind of freaky. Yeah, I mean, I just saw the thing where you can do it like on the fly, which is not something that, you know, car guys and engine guys think of. Like, I'm gonna just strip every gear out of my transmission trying to do that. You know,
it feels like a hydrostatic transmission where you can actually do that.
Yeah.
But now you can do it with real power, right? It's like it's a good feeling, really.
Yeah. No, it looks pretty amazing, and well, and I just sat in earlier on the press conference with your team that was announcing it, so I got to see a little bit of it in action, like the video, but also, you know, what I think is equally as impressive is just coming in at a price point where you are that is in line with a lot of the ICE products, a lot of the gasoline type powered project or, you know, vehicles in the market. So it's not such a ultra premium price point that you're going to, you know, lose people for that, because that has been a big concern with EVs. So,
you know, when we compare to, let's say, a 700 Outlander, which would be the comparable at 50 HP, let's say, we're about 20% more expensive, which is, you know, it's but when we compare that to some of our competitors that did the same in side by side, they're more in the 50% gap from the ICE version. So
right.
That being said, I mean, we're patient with the product, we're patient with the technology. We need to learn, we need to introduce it at the right price so we get some traction, obviously. I think we had our lesson with the motorcycles. We actually announced price reduction to actually, you know, get things moving a little bit more. So for us, it's going to be a longer journey, but at the same time, that technology is not going to disappear, right? It's there to stay.
Right.
So, you know, the more we understand, the more we get into it, and the more we'll be able to adapt that technology to many other products.
You know, and so one of the things I was looking at, I mean, you really look at it for the long term, the long haul. And I had asked a question to your guys on the panel, the press conference today, about it's like you're looking to create this product, you have the technology and the platform, creating a product that there's not necessarily, like you were saying earlier, the demand for electric EV is not necessarily there now, but it's also waiting for the right opportunity for the right product to come along. You know what I mean? I feel like you guys are getting closer and closer to that level as it goes along, you know, and I think this platform it seems like it's really working out as far as being able to use it in multiple type products. You know, is there a potential it could go into a Sea-Doo switch or something like that? You know, because
there's lots of potential, Brendan, but obviously the technology has its limits in terms of power density. That's you know, physical reality. The chemistries of the different cells that exist today are also limiting in terms of size and weight. So there's so much you can put into a watercraft or a three-wheeler or whatever products you can imagine. But we need to, and that doesn't mean there's no segmentation of our product lineups that cannot be adapted to that technology. Like for me, ATV actually makes a lot of sense because you don't need 300 kilometers or miles of range, right? When you're in your farm, it is not a trail ATV. It's more of if you have a utility, 50 acres, 100 acres, I mean, you probably won't go through the battery during the whole day. So that's what we're targeting. So, I mean, we're hoping this is going to be quite positive as a commercial success.
What has the dealer reaction been? Now you're there at Club BRP with you know, I'm assuming a few thousand dealers, you got a pretty good group size there. I don't know exactly the numbers, but and they're all seeing this. What are you hearing feedback from all the new products, but especially this EV, which, I think is something that, obviously we're talking about with not knowing the long term or the short term viability of it, but the long term we know is there. What are they excited about this? Are they seeing the potential? And
you know what the problem is, Brendan? We have so many product news that the dealers right now are just processing, right?
No, this is true.
When
I
you
just
compare that
this morning, Emily just sent me a bunch of, she's like, yeah, can you digest this? And, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of news all at once. So yeah, you're
it
right.
is. So both ATVs and side by side, the number of different product news that we've launched last night is a little bit mind boggling for the dealers. And when you compare this to the new platform and the youth rec segment with the Defender,
Yeah,
this is a brand new platform, brand new engine, brand new everything, new technology. And so that's the highlight of the club, right? That's the majority of the business of our dealers. But what I feel, though, to your
that's the
question
bread
on
and
the
butter.
EV,
That's definitely going to be a
oh yeah,
mover,
yeah, 100%,
yeah.
100%. So the big news, or the big, I would say, pleasant surprises for the dealers is obviously Defender is the number one, and then I would say even segments like the Defender XMR. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a beast. And then the 6x6 is also a surprise, but for different markets.
No,
In
that looks pretty
Scandinavia,
cool because it's all new platform. I didn't realize with the Defender, that 6x6, about how real versatile and narrow, they were making the case like it does a lot of the things that a UTV can do as far as hauling and moving stuff, but in such a small footprint, like the size of a ATV. So I can see the benefits for that for sure. But is it, some of that, it's like, okay, there's so many cool options on it. Is that that's a pretty niche product too, as well?
it is here in North America, but it's starting. But in regions like Scandinavia, where the terrains are so nasty, it's you need a 6x6.
Yeah.
These guys live and breathe by 6x6, and when they saw this beast of backcountry we have with the 30-inch tires and everything, they were going crazy right now. So, and then we have 3 engines. Just to give you an example, the 700 in the ATV size 6x6 would make it the most powerful 6x6 of the industry. But we made it up to the 1000R, which has 101 horsepower.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really making a statement out there. So it's
Right.
super excited with this. And what we're hearing from North American dealers is that it's not the majority of their sales, but the people that actually choose a 6x6 are saying they would never go back. It's that much
Right.
comfortable, that much capable, and so on and so forth. So
You get the hardcore loyalists and followers, and then when you upgrade it to build it like it is, and I mean, I think that's what makes you guys so unique, in that you can build all these kind of products, somewhat niche. Now the Defender maybe not so much, but some of these other ones, and you get that hard. The follower, they won't, they're not going to look elsewhere. This is what, they follow that brand loyalty then at that point. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's pretty phenomenal. But, so what, I guess looking at what's going on now with like tariffs and all these kind of things, how much is this that you're hearing from dealers that they're worried about? How much are you guys planning for, not only tariffs, but the slowdown in the industry that everybody's having? It's not, it's not picking sides or everybody's facing the same kind of thing right now. So, what do you guys look at? What do you guys look at how to deal with it?
And it's not unique to our industry either. So
No.
it's the biggest issue is this. It's this kind of uncertainty that this is creating everywhere, right? And when there's uncertainty, well, businesses are not necessarily in the mode to heavily invest, right? Because there's uncertainty. And that creates, obviously, by the same token, inflation. And then inflation isn't good, right? Interest rates are still high. So when you look at our industry specifically, in terms of OEM, I mean, we deal with it. It's been a lot of work. Just steel and aluminum, for example.
Yes.
I think it's something like 18,000 SKUs that we needed to get smelt certificates, and it's all the paperwork behind it and so on. But beyond the work, we're absorbing a good portion of the tariffs. We've launched our new pricing on model year 26, so we're trying to manage this in a way where we remain competitive, but we're able to absorb the rest. But on the pricing subject, we were also able to, on specific categories, like the X3 and some categories in the Defender, more of the entry-level packages. We announced last night some significant price decreases.
Oh, okay.
So that's a little bit in contrast with what we're hearing, right, with the tariff pressure.
Right.
But we're going for the volumes, and these are categories that typically our dealers don't focus on. They rather focus on the real premium stuff. That's how
the margins are smaller with these entry level, but Polaris, they're doing their thing with that, with their
exactly.
low price entry level thing. And so they look at it like, hey, you're going to get some people in that are going to be drawn in by that low price, entry level price. And then maybe they'll end up going, well, in the end, I want this level of product. So either they're going to stay with that entry level or they're going to move up, if they can. Whether they can or not, it's hard to say. I also think there's a lot of shift right now into more what you're saying, more of the utility side of the market, because that utility side ends up being, those are the people that can invest in it. And that's what's moving right now, is versus, say, pure sport or even sport recreational. Those are harder sells at this point. So, the Defender makes 100% sense with that, the new cab and the whole, that it seems to be the way the market wants to go. And from what I hear on those levels, those premium products are moving very well, contrary to.
And we're also, I mean, you're right that we're seeing even shifts from probably customers that would have bought sports segments, but without cab, they'd rather go in a Defender cab, right? So,
right, yeah, they're like, air conditioning, heat and everything else. It's kind of hard to, and you see some of these things are like, these are little pickup they're cars almost, they really are. We're moving farther and farther away from the old tractor kind of, John Deere Gator type setup, and those things are like so far in the past, and from what I've read about, even with the new Defender, just some of the refinement that you guys have done with like some of the transmission work and the shifting, just the feel of it interior wise, sounds like it's on point.
It's bigger everything, bigger suspension components. It's noise and vibration has been improved, super quiet. And obviously with the new engine 3-cylinder, there's that new signature that comes from that. And all the refinements, the electronics, now that we have a 10.25-inch display in the Defender, you get navigation and the music and then all the options for the sound systems. Listen to this, a Defender Max Limited has 12 speakers in the audio system. It's like a car.
I will say that
customers like that.
I feel like, people always go, well, look at these OEMs, they're building these crazy machines. But I think it also comes down to your customers are going to build this anyway. They want to build this. So whether they take it to an aftermarket shop and say, put in 12 speakers and a 10-inch screen and wheels, I want to do all that. That's what they're doing anyway. So you're just kind of giving them what they want with a warranty,
Exactly. We have so many examples of dealers doing build-ups, 50, 60, 70 grand
Yeah. Oh,
for a Defender, fully decked and modified. And so there's definitely a market in the premium space.
yeah, yeah. Well, and eventually, I also think that all that stuff improves everything down, down market of that, down segment of that, because you've already kind of learned on that technology. You might get some economies of scale building, so you can put some of those components or upgraded components in some of the, so you're kind of elevating the whole line along the way. Is what it seems.
Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, there's I mean, in terms of selling the premiumness, BRP has been pretty good at that, and now we need to have the dealers behave a little bit differently when it comes to more entry level packages. So
Right.
It's and this is how we will all be more profitable, the dealers and BRP, because then you get the economies of scale on the full platform, the engine and everything.
Well, and I also see that, yeah, you've got the premium pretty well dialed it, but you have the premium and you've had some entry level, but there's also those new players in the market that want to, the value want that are going to try to come in and squeak out a little market share. But it sounds like to me, you guys are saying, not so fast. We've got products that will fill that niche, that market as well, and
it
give
won't be
our
that easy.
more
Exactly.
opportunity,
And you know what, Brendan, it's yes, on the product, we need to make our, the moves that we needed to make, but it's more than just a product, right? It's how the brand resonates. It's how we take care of our customers. It's how the dealers take care of their customers. This is how you win customers' hearts, right? It's not only about the product and obviously the price. So we believe we're one of the best OEMs in terms of positioning to be able to 360 wise that take care of that customer, not only on the purchasing side, but also on the ownership experience, reliability, durability, how dealers, I mean, if there's something that happens, how dealers will take care of our customers. So it's about that premium experience beyond the product that we need to create,
right?
With
the whole
partnership
like
with our
that 360 experience, as far as like you've got to nurture that customer all the way along, and then all the way through the service life cycle, and then to the point where then they're going to go step up to another vehicle, and then the process starts over again. But you in the automotive world, this is something they've worked on for since the beginning. It's like you have to get that brand loyalty in, build that brand loyalty, but it's more than just about the vehicle themselves, because the customer sees not only the brand, but their experience with it is at the dealer, and how they perceive the brand is through that dealer. So taking care of the dealers and making sure the dealers are up to speed seems to be such a paramount, thing for success,
I was talking to dealers this morning in the business meeting and was, telling them exactly that, how the dealers should also take care of their brand as a dealer to be that dealership of choice for that consumer. This is how they're going to repeat business, right?
Right.
If they trust the dealer, they trust the brand, they trust our brands, and we provide the right, service overall for the whole ownership experience, so they're going to repurchase. There's no doubt.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. And whether, obviously, now I was just at an event here in Ohio, the Vintage Motorcycle Days, which is in mid-Ohio, close to where I live. And the amount of energy and just the buzz going through there was, you look at it when people are all down on nobody's buying. Well, everybody still loves power sports, and that's not going away. So it's just a matter of, there could be some bumps in the road. And I think you guys are doing a reasonably good job at navigating through all the hills and valleys that come along with what we've been going through the last few years. So Not to say that there aren't any more, in the long term, knock on wood, but it's like the bottom line is there's the passion and excitement for power sports is still there, and I could see it just with my own eyes with how huge that that event was. It was probably the biggest I've ever seen in the last 10 years. Really? It helped to get great weather, but on top of that, it's like, okay, why is this happening? Well, people maybe they're not buying right now, but they're still servicing. They're still, they're still going to dealers, and they need to go to dealers, to keep servicing their vehicles, to trade in for, even if they're buying a used vehicle, but they're going to keep that cycle going, and hopefully the dealers we need to keep them healthy so that they can continue that. But
it's a normal cycle, right? I've been 31 years in the business, and there's always, especially after the surge we got, in COVID, there's it's like gravity, right? At some point, things need to balance out a bit, and you combine that with obviously a high interest rate, like we just talked about, and this is going to auto-correct itself at some point. But the interest is definitely there, because you're bringing a good point. If retail was softer and then, parts usage was also softer, then maybe we have a problem, but we see the exact opposite. People are using their product. They're not necessarily renewing as fast, but they're definitely writing, and that's healthy. So for me, it's a normal cycle. We're into it. It's probably going to last another 2-3 quarters. Who knows? And our job is to position ourselves best possible to be hitting the ground running when things come back. And this is why we took a year almost 15 months now ago, the tough decisions to really do inventory corrections, and really protecting the financials of our dealers, so that they can get through that inventory and then be in good shape. And right now, this is what, at least when I'm hearing from our dealers here in Boston, how they feel. They're actually happy with their position. Obviously, they're
feeling good that they've gotten rid of the channel. Some of the older model years are kind of getting cleared out of the channel. And then, through whatever, sometimes you have to discount enough to get that through, but then you're ready for these new model years, and then that to drive that interest, right? So
we need to get that whole shot. You know what that is,
right? Yeah, the whole shot. Or whatever it is in snowmobiling, So as far as all the new model launches you've had, like in the last 24, 48 hours or so, I mean, this is kind of the first big push of are there more coming? Is it going to be trickled out, or is this kind of like the big push through the 26?
I could tell you, but I would have to eliminate you.
Well, I know you'd have to do some kind of Men in Black thing. I'd be like, what? I don't even know what happened. What day is it?
Seriously, this is our big push. This is, this is our model year 26 launch. This is why we invite every single distributor and dealer in the world. We got over 2,500 people here, another 1,000, I think, connected virtually. So this is our big event.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if there's a surprise if there's a surprise in December, then there's a surprise in December.
You never know what could happen, but surprises are.
You
might want a December surprise, and this when it's not a election year, So yeah, that'll be good.
Exactly.
Well, hey, Sandy, thank you so much for joining us. I know you're extremely busy and probably got more of these to do. So we really appreciate you taking the time, and enjoy the rest of Club BRP. We're looking forward to hearing how the rest of it goes. Awesome.
Always a blast, Brendan. Thank you.
Always, man. Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
If you like this podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. We also invite you to connect with us on powersportsbusiness.com.